So, 5 minutes from my top 5 games. First of all, I want to thank you guys a lot. I've been growing a lot. I don't want to talk too much. I want to get into this video, but this video took me a long time to make. And on top of that, it took me a long time to get the clips and stuff like that. So please, if you enjoy the video, like it, comment your top 5 as well as share the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. One small caveat to this video: I plan on doing all of my top 50s, so this will be part 1 of my top 5, and then the next 5 will be the rest of the top 10, and then the 5 from that will be 15, and the 5 from that will be 20, etc, etc. So I do plan on making this a little series on my channel of my top 5 favorite games and 5 minutes from them. But one small caveat I have to say is that some of these games on this list are either you can't buy them, you can only play them on older consoles, and you can't emulate them. So some of them I'm going to have to either grab clips from YouTube, which I will put the people I got them from on the video and in the description. So I'm not stealing anybody's footage. Most of these I recorded myself, but there is a part of it that I had to get videos from other people because, like I said, either I can't emulate them, they're too old, or you just can't really buy them or get them nowadays. So yeah, I greatly appreciate it, and thank you guys so much. This video took a long time, and I really appreciate it if you guys show support. And like I said, into my top 5. Here we go.
Take me back to old Yazoo.
So BioShock 1. BioShock 1 is my favorite game of all time. I put games under it, as you guys saw in the slide, because I love all of the BioShock games, 1, 2, and Infinite. Infinite is actually the first one I played, but BioShock 1 is the game that I fell in love with. BioShock 1 is really everything I want in a video game in one singular game. This game has everything in it. It's not horror, I would say. It's not really a scary game, but it has creepy and thrilling moments and horror elements to the game. And it's also a shooter with powers. It's just everything I love in a game, along with the story, which is amazing. And I don't really play games for the story, but the story in this game is so good. So in all of these top 5 videos I'm making, there will be spoilers, obviously, because I'm talking about the game. The ending to this game, the twist with Atlas being somebody else and being the villain, trying to get you to do these things and help his quote-unquote family, but he's really manipulating you the entire time. It's great writing. The fact that there's 2 endings. This might have been the first game I played with multiple endings, whether you save the little sisters or treat them bad and take their Adam. Just everything about this game, story-wise and the gameplay elements, are just perfect to me. Before we get into specifics about the game, I absolutely adore the voice acting in this game. Atlas, Andrew Ryan, the voices in this game are very well done, and I really do believe that this game still holds up today. Now, does it feel a little dated? I don't think so. I think that the things that feel dated are more like the gunplay elements, but I don't think this game is that dated. You could still play it today and have a great time because everything about it is such a masterpiece that I truly believe that this could be anyone's favorite game even if you played it today. Let alone the colors of this game is absolutely great. You're looking at Rapture right now. Rapture looks absolutely beautiful and is one of my favorite settings in video games ever. Just the 1930 to 50s atmosphere mixed in with an underground city Rapture alongside the splicers that are creepy and will kill you with the big daddies and the little girls. The game design of this game is absolutely beautiful. I like it more than 2. If I had to pick one, obviously be BioShock 1. Infinite has very similar things going for it, but BioShock 1 is absolutely beautiful. Another thing I really love about this game is you're introduced to all the mechanics and gameplay ideas off the bat. Within the first 30 minutes of the game, you pretty much know what's going to happen and what's going to go for the rest of the game. Maybe not story-wise, but in terms of mechanics. You get a weapon, you use it. You get the plasmids, which I love the plasmids. I really do believe that the plasmids are one of the better gameplay mechanics in games in terms of like power usage, where you get to unlock them and they have several uses alongside alongside you being able to, you know, there's an ice wall, so you have to use your fire plasmid to knock it down. It's pretty simple, but it makes you interact with the plasmids and the stuff you have. But like I said, within the first 30 minutes to an hour of the game, you get the hacking done, you get a weapon, you get plasmids, and you pretty much are aware of the gameplay mechanics right off the bat. Maybe outside of the big daddies and the little girls, but like I said, the little sisters, all the gameplay mechanics you're introduced to, and you understand how they work very quickly within this game. So yes, my favorite things about this game, I just talked a lot about it, but the being introduced to gameplay mechanics right away. But my absolute favorite thing about this game, like I said, is the setting and the area you're in, because it's creepy. It's not horror, but it can scare you if you're playing alone at night, dark, and you have headphones on. Like, the atmosphere can get to you. Another part of the game, like I said, just the colors. I think it's because you're underwater and a lot of it is gritty. It's like gritty blacks and grays alongside of like the lights and the reds and the golds of Rapture and how grand the place is. It really makes you feel like you're in like an underground utopia. It makes you feel like you're in Atlantis or just some mystical underground place that's overrun with these enemies and these crazy people that are attacking you and trying to get to the little sisters. And like I said, the music is great in the 1930 to 50s, just beautiful colors and the beautiful atmosphere that is in this game. Everything about this game I absolutely adore and I think is perfect, and I don't think it gets much better than the first BioShock. One day, I know they're coming out kind of a game called Judas, which I'm excited for, but one day when for some reason, if they ever bring back the BioShock franchise, I don't know if it will be, it will still be one of the best games to be played. You can't go wrong with this formula that the game has, and like I said, this is my #1 game of all time. I absolutely love it, and I think it hits on all fronts. If I were to give this game a rating, it would have to be, you can't go lower than an 8 in my opinion with BioShock 1. It just does everything right, and it does everything perfect in my opinion, and I hope you guys one day get to experience this game. Even if you played Infinite first or something, come back and play the first BioShock, and I promise you, you will have a good time. So, God of War 3. I promise not all of the games in my list are entire franchises or all the games, but God of War, again, I love most of the games in this franchise, but if I had to pick one, it would be God of War 3. So quickly, unfortunately for this game, I could not get my own copy. I do have it on PlayStation, but I can't do that right now. Alongside of, I tried to emulate this, I waited 2 hours for a 35GB game, and it crashed every time. So I had to use MK Ice and Fire. He has a great YouTube channel, full playthroughs. Please go check him out. So the things I'm going to say about God of War 3 are kind of God of War as a whole, so let's get into it. First of all, the mythology and the giant bosses that everyone talks about. You run around as Kratos, who is one of my favorite characters ever, being a complete badass, just murdering gods from different mythologies, but of course the first 3 are very heavily centered around the Greek gods. And just running around killing the different gods is a lot of fun, and you get to be a absolute badass man tank that is a god in human form, that is one of the most ridiculous, most powerful characters in all of fiction. So to dive into this game particularly, and a few that are before this, it is a hack and slash style of game along with puzzles and platforming. So it's not just going around and just killing a bunch of shit, but that is the most of these games. But it is also, you know, you're platforming, you're running around, you're jumping on stuff while you're doing little puzzles here and there. But the fun and the bread and butter of this game is the combat. Do not get me wrong. The different weapon types, of course, the Hercules weapon, the Hades weapons, and of course everyone's favorite, the Blades of Chaos. All the weapons are great in this game and they feel great to use alongside of Kratos' actual powers like his Spartan shield, and the more he unlocks throughout the game and the other games is just great, and it always feels great to pilot this absolute tank of a god. The voice acting and characters, I mean, are second to none in this game. The original Kratos, I love the new Kratos, Christopher Judge, but the old Kratos is just fueled with anger, and his voice acting really comes through in this game. So Kratos as a character has one of my favorite stories, alongside him being one of my favorite characters. His story of just, you know, being Zeus's son and not knowing it, making a deal with Ares, and then being tricked into murdering his daughter and wife, and that is how he gets the nickname the Ghost of Sparta, from their ashes being painted on his body alongside the giant tattoo he gives himself, or the marking for his brother Deimos. Is a beautiful and well written, heartbreaking story that is alongside this fast-paced action, murdering blood and gore all over the place. And of course, the bosses and the giant set pieces that you were a part of, fighting on top of, you know, giants and titans and murdering them throughout the series, fighting Zeus and Poseidon, Helios, Deimos, Athena, all of these gods in one game, and you are taking them down, murdering them brutally, or just in some fashion conquering the gods on your own, just being a, don't get me wrong, Kratos is a god, but he is more or less just a man, meaning, you know, his size and stature, he's not huge, he's just a regular dude who happens to be a god and just goes around with his rage-fueled vengeance, conquering opponent after opponent after opponent. I love all of the God of War games. I love the gods and mythologies, especially the Norse mythology. So I really enjoyed Ragnarok and the new God of War that came out. I think it was 2018 or 2016. So I'm excited to see where they take the series next. I will always be a fan of these projects, alongside they're coming out with a TV show that I hope will be good. I wish it was animated, but it's probably going to be live action. So I am doubtful on it, but I'm excited to see it. Point is though, God of War, one of my favorite franchises and will forever be. Absolutely adore the people that make this game, the voice actors, and Kratos as a character, and I cannot wait for more from this franchise. God of War 3 in particular is my second favorite game of all time. Like I said, I'm not saying these games are better than one another, these are just my favorites personally, and God of War 3 and the whole series definitely takes the number 2 spot. So, Dark Souls 1 takes my number 3 spot. To be clear, again, all games, I know, I'm sorry, but I love all of the Dark Souls game, the entire FromSoft franchise, Sekiro, any of the games you can name I love, but if I had to pick one, Dark Souls 1 is absolutely my favorite. So this is my gameplay here. This is going to be upcoming in a new video, so you guys can check that out. But there's not much to say that people don't know already about Dark Souls. The lore and the world in these games are top tier without question. Any single one of these games, the worlds are absolutely beautiful, and one thing I love about these games is it doesn't really tell you what's going on, or it doesn't explicitly say like this about bosses or what the world is or what's really going on. You have to figure it out and put the pieces together or look it up online, which you could say is a bad point, but I like the mystique and mysteriousness that is this world and the bosses and the story that's really going on behind the scenes. One of the best parts of this game, obviously, outside of its difficulty, because people either hate or love the difficulty of these games, but I don't think it's that hard. I think it's just very punishing for you. You die, you lose all your progress, not your progress, but your souls. If you had them on you, you have to go back and make a run back to the boss or wherever you were at. The enemies respawn, yada yada. You guys pretty much know if you've played Dark Souls. But one of the other points about this game is the ability to make whatever you want for the most part in these games. You could be a samurai running around with dual katanas just cutting things up. You could be a wizard type build and use magic and spells or incantations. You could be a pyromancer and use fire spells and incantations. You can use fire breath from dragons and all sorts of crazy stuff, as well as just being an absolute tank, rocking a massive two-handed weapon that you can even get from bosses and just smacking enemies to the ground. The amount of creativity you can have with your builds and things you can make are just some of the best parts of this game, along with the cool armors. The weapons all look pretty cool, even in Dark Souls 1, but of course as the games go on, they get cooler and cooler, but Dark Souls 1 still has some pretty cool weapons like Havel's Dragon Tooth, Havel's armor, some of the Black Knight weapons, and the design of these armors and shields and things just feel so medieval and feel, even though they're medieval, they feel like they're in their own world, in their own place. I think the Dark Souls games offer some of the best gaming experiences in the entire entertainment gaming industry, in my opinion. You get to start as nothing with basic levels with just a skeleton of your class, and then as you go, you level up the things that you want. If you want to be strength, you go for strength, and you can build whatever you want, and just overcoming these gigantic, beautifully designed, the music is great, everything about this game is fantastic, and about these games about building your character up from zero to hero and being an absolute tank and monster that even the bosses fear. So of course these games, outside of its difficulty, are pretty much known for their bosses and their gigantic set pieces, much kind of like God of War, but these bosses are different. They will really mess you up in all of these games. Dark Souls 1 particularly, there's some pretty annoying bosses in this game, but as you're seeing here, Ornstein and Smoke, one of the most iconic boss fights in the entire series. They look so cool, they work together really well. Not every boss fight is a dual boss fight. This is just like one of the first ones, and it is greatly well done. You're fighting these giant bosses usually that are way more powerful than you, with their great OST and music in the background, and the entire time your heart is pumping, your blood is boiling, and you're just anxious to see if you're going to live or die. And of course, especially in Dark Souls 1, in my opinion, the NPCs are iconic. You have Solaire, the sun guy. You have Patches, who's in this game as well. The Fire Keepers are always great additions, alongside of the Knights of Katarina. All of these games have really good NPCs, but Dark Souls 1 has, in my opinion, some of the most iconic ones, especially Solaire and the thing that started the pose and the memes and all of that. Yeah, the NPCs in this game, not even just talking about the bosses, just the people you can interact with, are so iconic, and their voice lines, even in Dark Souls 1, are very well done. And somehow the combat never gets old. You're dodging around, doing light or heavy attacks depending on the weapon you have, or casting magic. You're rolling things because you have invincibility, and you're trying to get through these boss attacks and just beat these boss encounters. To me, even though you're doing some of the same things in every fight, the combat never gets old because of the stakes that are at hand. You never know if you're going to die. You never know what attack the boss is going to throw next. You never know what boss is coming next unless you've played the game, and the replayability of these games are top tier because you can make different builds, take different paths, and yeah, Dark Souls 1 especially has that. You can do certain areas first or certain areas last, but like I said, the ability to just go into another run immediately and just use a whole different class with a whole different weapon and get a whole different experience, like I said, is one of a kind when it comes to these games. Or if not, these are the games that started it, in my opinion. So Dark Souls 1 is my favorite, and it takes the number 3 spot, and I think it is a great franchise, and I cannot wait for more Souls games.
I remember the night of my 21st birthday. That was the first time I died.
The Darkness 1, what a classic. So firstly, again, this is MK Ice and Fire. His link will be in the description, as well as his name is on screen. You cannot buy this game on PlayStation, and to emulate it, it keeps crashing, and yeah, so we have to use his gameplay here again, unfortunately, but shout out to him. Please go subscribe. So I have so much to say about this game, but such little time to say it. So firstly, The Darkness, you play as Jackie Estacado. It's also a comic book. You guys should go look it up. Jackie Estacado is a member of a mafia family. He was an orphan and gets adopted by a mafia family, and is now into the family doing jobs for his uncle, quote-unquote, Paulie. Little does he know, though, his family has a curse called the Darkness, which is an entity that takes over on the host's 21st birthday and comes out and is just a killing machine that wants to take over the person's body and just kill and unleash destruction. So this game is great. The story is fantastic. I love this story. It's very simple, but it's very dark, and it takes you in unexpected turns and twists. The powers are super fun to use in this game. You take control of the darkness, which can eat enemies, summon demons from other realms. It takes people's hearts to heal, and one of the coolest mechanics I love about this game, and I think in games, is that the darkness obviously feeds on the darkness. So you have to shoot lights, and you can't be in the light for too long, or else the darkness won't be as powerful. So you have to actually shoot the lights and turn the lights off around you when you are fighting. The voice lines in this game is great. I will say some of the voice acting is a little sometimes, but for most part it's great. It has memorable characters such as Jimmy and Aunt Sarah, and of course Jackie's girlfriend Jenny, who gets killed right in front of him and it's the only thing that he cares about. And then Jackie shoots himself in the face, but he can't die because he is controlled by the darkness. I think this story is really one of a kind, and like I said, the voice acting is whatever sometimes, but for the most part it's great. But the writing and the dialogue in this game is great. Even if the voice acting doesn't keep up, the writing and the dialogue and the conversations these characters have feels real and very authentic. You're walking around a gritty New York, it's dark, and the entire game is just dark and twisted. So you're walking around New York, you're going through subways, different places, and everything is dark, and the tones of this game is just beautiful. I love the setting of this game, I love the characters, and I love the darkness powers and the way that you interact with it, especially how it interacts with Jackie, talking to him, making fun of him as his girlfriend dies in front of him. The darkness is just twisted and is really trying to get Jackie to push the limit to take him over. Out of all these games though, in my top 5, I will say this is the only one that is a little outdated. So playing this game nowadays, like the story stays you know, up there, as well as I believe the characters, and the playing of the game isn't that bad, but the gunplay definitely doesn't stand up to today's time. It's very rusty and it feels very old when you're shooting, but everything else about the game, in my opinion, still stands up. But yeah, the gunplay and the shooting can definitely get a little whatever sometimes. But out of all these games, this is the only one that's kind of nowadays, but the game when it came out, and is still, in my opinion, a cult classic. So yes, the game in terms of gameplay doesn't really stand up, even though it's still super fun to play, but Jackie Estacado is one of my favorite characters to play as well as some very memorable characters, very great writing, as well as the story is just fantastic, and I've yet to play a game that made me feel like the darkness made me feel. This game easily takes my number 4 spot, and I adore this game. So last but not least, we have Mafia 2 that takes my number 5 spot for my top 5 of all time. So I'm aware that I've repeated myself for some of these games and been talking about, you know, some of the similar things, but that is why that these games are so special to me, such as character, setting, etc. This game is kind of the same. The characters in this game is so memorable. I will forever remember Joe Barbaro and Vito Scaletta. Joe is the original Jackie from Cyberpunk. You guys, everyone loves Jackie from Cyberpunk as a sidekick, but Joe is the original. They even look alike. So just to go over the story a little bit, you are a war veteran, or more or less just a soldier who just came back from the war. You got hurt and you got some time off, so now you're allowed to come back home to it's called Empire Bay, but it's kind of like New York, right? But you come home and you're trying to figure out how you're going to make money and do things, but your best friend from childhood, Joe here, by the way, this is the remastered version of Mafia 2. I played the original. The remastered version looks so good with the characters, but Joe here helps you out. He's actually in a mafia family doing crime, of course, and hence the title of the name, and he is giving you all of these like jobs and things to do, letting you meet people so you can eventually make the money for yourself and be his tag team in crime. As the game goes on though, you know, jobs get butchered and things like that. Things start to go wrong. Vito realizes that this life is more than what he thought it was going to be. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The ending to this game is still debated on, but the ending is so great to this game, and it also ties to the original Mafia, which is, I think, a beautiful tie. I cannot understate how funny and how well written these characters are in this game. It is hilarious at times. I mean, I'm going to play a clip here in a second, but Joe is one of the funniest sidekicks ever. And the dialogue is greatly written.
Shit. Did I leave gas in that thing?
There's a Polak joke there, but I'll leave it alone.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Fuck you.
All right, that's enough shooting. We got work to do.
So that is one of the few moments in this game that you can see. The game is just hilarious. I just want to put that in there. But yeah, anyway, the characters are great. They're memorable, especially the old man at the end. I don't want to say too much because I really want people to enjoy this game. This game is basically GTA 5 but Mafia, or GTA 4, whatever you want to say. Just it's not a Rockstar game, but it pretty much follows the same principles. You know, it's an open world. There's gas stations, clothes stores, gun stores. You go in, buy outfits, you earn money, you can get cars, customize your their cars, etc., etc. Like I said, it's pretty much GTA but Mafia, and they do a great job. Now, people complain about the shooting. I don't think the shooting's that bad in this game, even today. I mean, I played the remastered version for this video. Like I said, I played the original Mafia 2 years ago, but the remastered version I actually did enjoy. I think that the shooting, I don't know if they changed it, but the shooting wasn't that bad. Sometimes I feel like you're more of a like bullet sponge, not a sponge, but you get shot like 3 times. I guess it's kind of realistic, but you die. So the game is a little hard, but the aiming and the gunplay itself still feels good. And the guns you can get are pretty cool, and the weapons, etc., etc. So the game does start a little bit slower when you first come home, because Vito, you know, is doing little time jobs, trying to figure out how he's going to make his money and stuff like that. So the game does start pretty slow. Like the first 2 hours of the game are slow, but they're slow for a reason, because it's building up for him being introduced into this mafia family and then getting, you know, bigger jobs and being, you know, like their personal hitman per se. So it does start slow, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, because it's really for story purposes. And I will say the missions in this game, of course, outside of like the first hour or two, is so much fun. I love some of the missions in this game. They're pretty memorable, and alongside that, like the amount of stuff that happens within the story that relates to the missions, in my opinion, they're super interesting and they're super fun to play through even today. So I am a fan of these Mafia style games. I mean, you know, this game and of course the Darkness are kind of Mafia centered. The Darkness way less than this, don't get me wrong, but I do enjoy these type of story games and like GTA games. I like this more than the GTA games, to be honest. GTA 5 is a special one, and 4 for me is special, but I do enjoy this Mafia game more than a lot of GTA games. So I think you guys should give it a try. And yeah, Mafia 2. Mafia 3 wasn't as good, so I didn't put all games. I do love the Mafia 1 remaster. The original is a little too old and outdated, but the Mafia 1 remaster is great, along with this remaster, which is pretty much just updated graphics. It's great. Mafia 3 kind of sucked, but I do love the Mafia franchise, and I wish they'd make another one. But, you know, they did make another one, The Old Country, but we're not going to talk about that too much. This is where this game really got popular, and I love this game. And of course, this ends my top 5, and I think it's a pretty solid list. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this video took a lot of time and work to make. I just want to apologize. Again, I'm still new to this, so I just want to say I'm sorry if I didn't make the games look that great, or if the cuts in here are kind of rookie, we'll put it that way, and not as professional. I do plan on, like I said, making a whole 50 and doing parts to this series, so they will get better with time. Please trust me, but I greatly appreciate it if you show this video support and share it. And yeah, please come to my Twitch where most of these clips were recorded, like I said, besides the games that I couldn't find. It's the same as my YouTube, The Kid with the Golden Arm. Please go check it out. I'd greatly appreciate it. Come by to the stream, leave a follow, and type in chat. I'm around almost every day. And I also would like to say, again, I'm sorry for not making these games look the best, or not showing like the best 5 minutes from these games. But I think even in today's standards, even if you don't have these games in your personal top 5, I think you should go back and play some of these games. Some of them are a little bit older, might feel dated, but like I said, all of these games I think are worth playing, and you will probably enjoy them. So yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. This took a while to make, and be ready for more. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Have a good day.